Mic. Can I hear myself now? Let's just wait for it to catch up and see. Done it. Fixed it.
Okay.
There we go. Guys, let me know if that works now. This is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Definitely not the easiest thing in the world to do. Um, yeah, so when you're like doing all, where did you get into the public speaking side of things? Because that is really, really interesting to me because obviously I do Instagram lives and now hopefully the YouTube lives are going to work as well. Uh, Thank you, Annabella. We can see the comment that you said it's working now. Basically, I managed to mute all the inputs from my computer and I went back to system preferences and fixed it. Um, that's one of your friends, right, Annabella?
Yes.
Thank you for joining us,
Yes.
Annabella. You're our biggest fan today because you sat through all of the mess that the the mic was giving us. Um, but yeah, the public speaking side of things. Where did you get involved in that, and why did you want to do it so much?
I began with public speaking thanks to my school. We did public speaking between students, like the people from your classroom was the public, and you spoke to them. We did it in front. We did public speaking in front of uh, the completely school staff of teachers and coordinators
Yeah,
and the principal. And we did public speaking to parents as well. And this was the whole year long. We did, we called them expositions and public speaking activities very, very often. And I liked it.
yeah,
Then in the university, we did not do a lot of public speaking work, but I was interested on participating in this like meetings and events where professionals talk about their work, and I viewed myself there in the future like a speaker, so I liked that too. That it is very different talking and speaking to a computer
yeah.
than to real life people. I really I enjoy more talking to people than to the computer because you don't get to have that feedback.
Yeah, how do you
It's
how obviously you do the podcast and you do it
weird.
where a lot of the time it's just you speaking and giving the information. How did you feel compared to doing that and doing the one that we did today where, there was someone else to talk to?
It is completely different for sure. When you do it alone by yourself, you need to be very careful because you don't know if you are, let's say, messing it
Mm,
up, or if you're making a mistake because it's just you talking. But whenever you talk with someone else, another point of view comes into the conversation, and it's feedback that's very nice for you to improve and for you to know how things are working out.
yeah, I think you're kind of similar to me in a way then because I struggle when I'm doing like an announcement video. Like I did yesterday, when I was trying to get somebody to help me out, I really struggle with that because it's just me talking into the camera, and I'm someone that doesn't always like to, just talk and talk non-stop. I like to have someone to kind of bounce off of and give an idea to, and then they can say something, and I can, say something back and make that a bit of more of a interesting conversation like that. The kind of thing that you would do if you went out for a coffee with someone, with one of your friends. That's kind of how I like to have my podcast. So I think hopefully um, that's how people are going to see mine. Yours is going to be a bit of both because you're going to do the stuff that you've previously been doing in Spanish and in English, which is so cool. There's not many guys who are doing this in English full stop. I have no idea how many people are doing podcasts like this in Spanish because you're going to be giving so much information to so many different groups. So hopefully that goes really well for you.
Yeah, I started it in Spanish because it's my native language, and since I know English too, and I have people that have asked me for it to be in English, I decided to like select or choose some of the topics I think they're relevant or that I like the most for them to have them in English as well.
Yeah, and it's one of those
For
things.
me, it's a matter of giving out to as many people as possible what I learn and what I'm interested about, and to create this community in which we can talk about academic things that most of the time you just it misses out, and to be on top of things
Yeah.
within our scope.
Yeah, because it's good because you obviously have the um, Spanish speaking as a skill, and then because it's your mother tongue, and then also to be able to speak to English, if you can then make connections via that as well, then it's only going to help you and help your listeners and help everyone. I kind of wish that I had a second language that I was good in, proficient enough in speaking to be able to, do a bit more. I just know little bits of different languages, but not enough to have a full conversation, just enough to be like, maybe I don't know, find the bank, like I don't know, or just weird phrases that you used to learn in school when you were doing like French for a language or Spanish. Um, I learned a little bit when I was in Bolivia. We did a trip to Bolivia when we were in school. Um, so we learned some Spanish there, but I don't know how much of that I remember because that was back in 2010. And I don't know how good the Spanish we were talking was because we were just shouting things until until we seemed to get what we were after.
What did you learn? What did you learn?
Uh,
Do you remember a phrase?
I can't remember much. It was mainly numbers because, like cinquenta or something like that, because we were trying to pay for things. So you're trying to learn what the number
Okay.
was. Uh, so we would just be like shouting a number, and the guy would be shouting a number back in the shop. And then eventually you work out how much you. Sometimes you just take the money, and then he'd just give us back the change because it was taking too long of this like shouting the numbers at each other. Um, But yeah, I think learning a language and how learning a skill like that is really, really important. And it just builds upon the person that you are. And a lot of my podcast is built upon, or the idea of it is talking to more people and having more points of view, more ideas, and then more interesting conversations. Not necessarily just talking about dentistry. We might just talk about social media. We might just talk about travel one time. We might just talk about sports another time or exercise and fitness because this is all our lives and what we're about as people, not just the teeth that we talk about and the caries that we treat. So hopefully, guys will start to understand a bit more about each other as a people.
Yeah, that's very nice. I've told you that approach of creating a community just to know the personality behind, let's say, behind the dentist or behind the student, it's also great. It complements a lot.
Yeah, and I think last week we talked quite a bit, and it didn't all get saved very well. We had a couple of issues, and the Skype call dropped out because of the internet and things. Um, but we were talking a lot about kind of South Venezuela because obviously there's some trouble with the economy in Venezuela. Um, how has that affected the health of the population there and the dental health? Have you noticed a decline, or is it still about the same? How do you see that affecting things?
Well, I believe that as as in other countries may.
Hold on, I think have we lost you? I think Alejandra's Internet may be playing up a little bit. Let me just try and get her back on. Are you back?
I'm back.
She's back. I jinxed it, right? I talked
Yes, I
about the
think I'm
internet
back.
problems.
Okay.
I talked about the internet problems, and like that, it dropped out. But we got you back very quickly.
I think last time happened just the same.
Yeah.
I think last time happened just the same.
This time it was my fault
Well,
because I spoke
what
about it.
I was saying is that okay. What I was saying is that I'll stick to dental caries, which is what I know most about,
Yeah.
and people not just here in Venezuela because there is an economical problem because many countries now are facing economical crisis,
Yeah.
but dental caries is a very prevalent disease, and it all starts because patients don't know that dental caries is a disease.
Yeah.
And we as well, me as a future dentist and dentists as well, can educate the patient on telling them how to control the
Mm.
onset of that disease. If you control the health issue by educating the patient right from start, we wouldn't have as much trouble in the healthcare system, let's say.
Yeah.
And our job as dentists will not just be curing the the expression of that disease, let's say dental caries lesion. We would be focusing more on controlling the onset, controlling the risk factors around that person that maybe that person does not know, and helping them not just improve their oral health, but their general health as well.
Yeah.
And I believe that is what is happening not just here, but in many other places. To learn how to be healthy and what a healthy person means and how to prevent it from becoming a disease.
Yeah, I think that's really, really true and very, very kind of prevalent even within a country like the United Kingdom, uh, in England where we're supposedly a very rich country. I see lots of patients who are coming in with rampant disease, and actually not so long ago there was, um, it was classed as a third world crisis in the UK due to the dental situation of how bad the condition for a lot of the people is. And it's down to education and it's down to policy from within, higher up in the system of having no idea about preventing these diseases. They're just trying to treat the disease. If we prevent these things, in the long term, we will save a lot of resources and money. But I think a lot of the time, the way that our systems work, it's always the here and now. Oh, we have some problem. We need to deal with the problem now. We're not going to think about afterwards. And I think because of the way things are, we're going to have to, as dentists, across all the countries, take it upon ourselves to do that um, job of teaching the patients what's good, what's bad. And that's where social media comes in, right? Where, we can easily talk to younger people
Sure.
on TikTok, kind of young adults on Instagram, the older generation on Facebook, and then YouTube is just a lot of everybody, right? Um, we can tailor our messages to younger people, using funny little TikTok dances and stuff like that. I'll leave that to people who can actually dance because if anyone's seen my TikTok, it's not good. Um, there's no dances on there, so don't be looking for it. But there is a way of reaching all these people, but we can't leave it up to governments or other people to get this information out there because at some level it's not profitable for them to do it. It costs them more money than it does, and they don't really care. It's us that care about our patients, so we need to do that job.
Yeah, for sure. We need to be the ones who just in our little private space with the patient start by teaching, start by telling them what we're doing, what this treatment is about, how is their general health working out for them, and just by doing that little thing, we can make a huge change.
Yeah, I think that's something that we can really do, and it's something as simple as diet, right? Diet will help your weight, it'll help
Yes,
your digestion, it'll help diabetes, it'll help your perio. and it'll help your gums, your caries rate as well. Just by changing one thing. Yes, that's a difficult thing to change sometimes if you're addicted to sugar or carbohydrates, but the long-term effect is so big. As long as we can get that information out there to actually, if you go to a low sugar diet, then it makes a big difference. Even if one or two people change it, we've done something great.
That's that's so right. Even if just one of our patients gets what we're trying to tell them and change for good and understand it, then we're doing things right. And you were talking about diet. That is a very studied topic too, especially nowadays. How does different foods impact your health? And you were talking about sugar, and for sure, sugar is not good for your body
Yeah.
in excess, of course. And that's some of the ways we can treat that disease, as I was telling you.
Yeah, I
How
think
is your diet? What are you eating? We're not nutritionists, but we know basic things, and we can uh, guide the patient. If you think that a patient is not eating right, maybe you can tell that to them and tell them to go to the specialist, tell them to go to their doctor. Everyone has their own speciality, their own scope of treatment, so you can be aware. I mean, I think of ourselves as healthcare uh, practitioners,
yeah.
not just working on teeth. And you need to know what your patient is suffering apart from something on their mouth. And if you can guide them, you serve as a guide to help them understand that it's important to treat other parts of themselves as well.
Yeah, I think that's really, really true, and it's something that hopefully we are going to get better at as time goes on. Um, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how things kind of change on social media and on Instagram. Um, I know we talked a little bit about this in the first, the chat that we did earlier today, actually. But how do you think
Yeah.
your podcast will help with this? Because it's more aimed towards dentists at the moment, isn't it? Do you think there will be things that on your podcast a patient could listen to and actually understand about, or do you think you're more targeted towards the dental professional?
I think it's more targeted to the dental professionals right
Yeah,
now, dental professionals and students, because I cover academic topics on a more uh, profound or deep way.
yeah,
I try to make it as responsible as possible by researching a lot and stating out the scientific background I use for it, and just to make it a place for someone that is curious within our own community, which that is curious to learn about something. And I can, if maybe I've said the name of an article and they're interested, then they can go and research about it.
yeah,
I have to give thanks that the first, I think number 2 and number 3 episodes, I had the help of a great and excellent doctor and tutor that has helped me out with that too. So it's not just me, but you have to also reach out to people that for sure know a lot more than you do. And that is also something that I want to state out.
yeah. I think that's really important to have that idea of um, mentorship. Uh, and because we're young dentists,
Uh-huh.
having someone that you can speak to who's been there and done all these things and made lots of mistakes, and they can tell you um, things to look out for, that you can really take some value away from and skip forward and not make those mistakes. I think that's going to be really important and something that I hope everyone takes away. I think everybody that I speak to that's done really well, it's very rare that somebody who's successful hasn't been there and gone to, some professor or more experienced colleague and taken advice. So I think that's going to be really, really important advice for anyone. So kind of thank you for that one.
Oh no, that's That's something very important. If you don't know something, if you don't know about something, look for a mentor. There's always someone that knows something more about other things. So you can uh, get together, and your knowledge and your enrichment will be so much more. And also, what I wanted to do with the podcast is to draw a line between what is facts and what is your own analysis. And I think we were talking about this earlier too, that you can have an article, you can read an article that states many facts and it's proven, let's
Yeah.
say, but you can also have your own analysis of that fact. And there is a line. So you need to, whenever you listen to someone else speaking, you need to be mindful not to judge at the first glance, but to understand what that person is talking about. He's talking about facts from this place, from this article or whatever, and then that person is analyzing that information and it's completely valid.
Yeah.
So you have to, what I wanted to do or what I want it to be is for also to also draw that line between those two things.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important. Um, and obviously, the more research that people do and the more evidence that we have between, uh, different ways of doing things, because sometimes there are two ways of doing something and you'll get a good result either way. But the more evidence we have behind all of these methodologies and things, then the better it is for the patient. And really, that's what we're there for. We're there to do good work and get a good result. Um, and the patient should always come first. And if we've got more and more research happening behind things and more evidence about why we're doing things, there's no way that we're going to do anything less than our best. I think that's the key now.
That could be another advice, not to not be afraid of research. I could say that you can start with something little and develop it,
Yeah.
so you can provide something else to your knowledge, to your own knowledge, and to the people around you.
Yeah, I think that's really, really key advice. If there was something that you, you're coming towards the end of your university now and the end of your degree, what's something that you could think, well, actually, I wish I knew this before I went in. So then, some advice to someone coming into dentistry, um, whether that's in Venezuela or anywhere else, just something that you wish you knew before that you now know.
Well, if I search topic, I would love to have started at a young at an early time in the career, because it gives you, in my opinion, it gives you many skills,
Yeah.
but also, I mean, skills, for example, discipline. You have to do this work, you have to read this article, and it helps you understand and analyze things from another point of view. So whenever you treat a patient, you just don't think about one thing. You learn to open your mind to all the possibilities available there. That's something that I would have liked to do early in the career.
Yeah, I think that's something that obviously is very personal to you because you're very involved in research. So I think that's really key. If you're someone who's got an idea about you wanting to understand and bring more understanding of a certain topic to light, it's not something to be scared of. I certainly think that if there'd been an opportunity and I understood that I needed research or research would be useful for me for getting into, for example, an endo program, I would have tried to find an opportunity while I was still in university. It's only now that I'm thinking, oh, I wish I'd really done something. So that's something that, I think is really good advice. So, guys, if you're thinking about specializing, I never thought about it and what I would need to have, under my belt in my CV. Research is a really good thing. It can only help you. Even if you're not the lead author on a paper, you could just be somebody who's helped and listed in the et al section. But it's a good thing to have on your CV.
Yes, every activity within the research path is enriching. So if you start by just helping someone review data or or I don't know, writing the paper or just giving your ideas or thoughts on something, it will help you either way. So, and not just you, but the the good thing or what I like about research is whatever you are researching about, it will, if it has a good or right path,
Yeah.
it translates to the community, society you are studying about. So it's not just me researching about this and that this is for me. It is for someone else. So in health, it is like that. So that's what I like it.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important. Uh, Thank you for joining me today. I think we've taken up too much of your time already. I really enjoyed speaking to you.
No, thank
Um,
you for having me.
I think for sure we want to catch up again sometime, and we'll maybe do one of the podcasts where we have a few extra guys on, and we'll have a couple of more people in, and we'll get some really interesting conversations going. And for sure, if you're in the UK or if I go to Venezuela, I'll let you know. I know there's that big waterfall I've been dying to see, which looks really, really cool. I can't remember the name. It's the one that's really, really tall. Um, Angel Falls?
So
Is
what
it
the?
Angel Falls in Venezuela?
Oh yeah, uh huh.
Yeah, I
El, I'll tell you in Spanish. El Salto Ángel
okay.
in the Amazonas.
So yeah, I think this is the whole point behind social media, guys. So if you connect with someone on social media, you've now got a new friend that can show you around somewhere or um, let you know where the good places are in a certain place to go. So thank you for joining me, though. Guys, if you haven't already seen Alejandra's I Talk Dent podcast, the link is in the bio underneath the video, the description underneath the video. So have a look there. Her Instagram's also linked there as well. So you can find out everything that Alejandra is doing. Um, I do have to say a big thank you to the guys who support this podcast. And those are the amazing people over in the Patreon group. They get a bunch of little perks for helping me out. So I'll just read those off. So it tends to be things that I think are going to be useful for dentists. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. You get one-on-one Instagram growth training to get patients from me every quarter. You get listed on the referral network. So if you want some extra patients, then I start sending you some if people ask in the DMs. You get on a really cool Discord group. So there's like a chat room, a bit more of a chat room where there's lots of dentists who've got really cool ideas and just really fun people. So there's that. You're getting discounts from dental companies like ProDent USA, and you're getting some PDFs like a dental photography checklist, which I've completed recently. So the guys who are in the group got that, and also you skip the queue if you want a feature. So there's a few little bits and pieces which are little perks for the guys in the Patreon group. Big thanks to those guys who support this channel. But make sure you are following Alejandra, guys. That's my little um, advertisement, if you want to call it, for the end of the podcast. Um,
Thank you.
Alejandra is doing some really good stuff. Make sure you're following her. A big thank you to you for coming on, and hopefully we'll catch up again soon.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Amazing, guys. Thank you for everyone who's joined. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. It's the first time I've ever said that. I'm gonna have to get used to saying that one. So, thank you for that, guys. All right, bye.